Nancy Pelosi is inviting President Trump to deliver the State of the Union address in Congress on February 5th. As you know, the speech was initially slated for tomorrow, but Pelosi rescinded her invitation due to the partial government shutdown, which has now ended. And we'll have a lot more on that coming up in just a few. But first, the 2020 Democratic presidential primary already turning into a circus. Senator Kamala Harris formally launching her campaign where she took shots at the president and pushed a radical agenda.
I am running to declare once and for all that health care is a fundamental right, and we will deliver that right with Medicare for all. I am running to declare education is a fundamental right, and we will guarantee that right with universal pre-K and debt-free college.
And after calling for a wealth tax, Senator Elizabeth Warren is now publicly shaming the billionaire owner of the Washington Redskins for buying a new yacht. And according to a new report, Hillary Clinton is telling friends that she hasn't closed the door on running again in 2020. But wait, there's more. Democrats are freaking out over former Starbucks CEO Howard Schultz saying he could run for president as an independent. Liberals fear a third-party candidate could hand Trump a second term. Schultz floating the idea on 60 Minutes.
I will run as a centrist independent outside of the two-party system. Not only the fact that this president is not qualified to be the president, but the fact that both parties are consistently not doing what's necessary on behalf of the American people.
And President Trump hitting back against Schultz on Twitter, saying he doesn't have the guts to run. All right, Greg, a lot to pick through here.
Exciting. It's like 2016 all over again. This is going to be hilarious. They're right about Schultz, though.
Yeah.
That's the most frightening aspect, because politics has to be binary. You have to have Republicans and Democrats. You put in a third variable, it throws everything off, and then it allows one side to squeak through. We saw that with Perot. So you have this imbalance. You can fix the balance, though, if you have two independents. Like if you have the Green Party and you have this party, Green Party, Libertarian, right, left, and then you have four, and then it kind of cancels each other out. It's like sports, you know. Each team has the same number of teammates, right?
Right.
Doesn't matter as long as they're the same. Kamala, okay, that's the first time I've really heard her speak. She has. She doesn't have much charisma.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. And she's like an automaker who can build only half a car. So she has all the promises, all the progressive promises that everybody applauds. If you're naive, you applaud. But she doesn't have the other half of the car. Like, how do you get this thing going? How do you pay for this stuff? And that's most progressives. That's their flaw. They can only build half a car, and it's the easiest car to build. It's the promises. And then if you look at Liz Warren with the yacht. This is a purely adolescent belief. Hey, there's a rich person. Let's take his stuff and sell it. That's not how you do government. That's not how you do how you pay for a government. It's kind of sad that that's how primitive she is.
And ironic, the senator going after the owner of the Washington Redskins.
I don't think she was aware of that.
I don't think she was either. So he says Kamala Harris does not have the charisma to deliver. Do you agree with that?
She's got a lot of charisma compared to Gillibrand, I'll say that.
That's true.
She does.
That's not saying much.
You know, it's funny when you watch their platforms. Do you remember when Obamacare was like a radical idea? Or like when Obama in 2008 had that Joe the Plumber moment and it was spread the wealth around and we were all like, oh, spread the redistribution of wealth. Now you have on the Democratic side blatant socialists coming out, Medicare for all,
free education,
free education, the Green New Deal. And it's interesting to me because they want stuff to be free, whether you're talking about education or healthcare, but they don't care about the quality. And the reason that they can't talk about quality is because what makes quality better in these industries is actually the free market, which they actively oppose. I just think it's really interesting to look at what's happened on the left. And when President Obama was talking about this fundamental transformation of America, so many of us were saying, this is going to be a creeping normality, little by little, of more and more government in your face. And everyone was saying, no, 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 he really wants Obamacare. And I said, no, he doesn't. He wants Medicare for all, and he's instituting Obamacare because he knows it's going to fall, and that's what people like Bernie Sanders are going to rush in with. But the fact that this has become the mainstream of the Democratic Party, I think should horrify moderate Democrats more than anyone.
Well, they don't care about paying for it. That's not their concern. Juan, what scares you most? Schultz getting in or Hillary Clinton getting back in?
Oh, I think it's
Good
Schultz.
question.
Schultz scares
Yeah,
Really?
because I think that if you divide the opposition, potentially that strengthens then what is really, Trump, we'll talk about this next block, but Trump's poll numbers are not great, even by the best measures. So in terms of who would support him, you also have a shrinking number of people who identify as Republicans. So when you say, oh, Republicans still support Trump overwhelmingly, although it's drifted a little bit, it's a smaller group. But if you take away a percentage of the people who are opposed to Trump to back an independent like Schultz, who has lots of money, that's big trouble. And that's why I think you've seen Michael Bloomberg, the former mayor of New York, say he will not run as an independent. And I think, maybe it was Greg who mentioned, what happened with Ross Perot back in '92. You could go back to people like John Anderson or come forward to people, it just strikes me that you see these people like in 2000. People said
Nader.
If Nader had not been there, we would have had a different president in Florida.
Right. Yeah.
But I must say, when I hear you say you don't think Kamala Harris has charisma or doesn't have a plan, wait a minute. The deficit's exploding under someone who had no way of saying,
She wants
here's how I'm going to
Medicare for
pay
all
for
and
it.
free education.
But I'm just saying, Trump said, oh, you know what? I'm going to cut taxes radically. I'm going to drop the deficit. The deficit's exploded. And I don't hear Republicans saying a word.
That's because
Morgan.
no matter what you do, whether you raise taxes or cut them, it doesn't matter.
Of course,
at least
matters.
we're getting money back to the economy.
It's clear that we are losing money on that tax cut, and it's not paying for services.
We aren't losing money.
The American people.
The government is losing money.
We are the people.
have more of our money. That's how it works.
We the people.
So this whole Howard Schultz discussion is fascinating to me because, of course, you were talking about Ross Perot got almost 19% of the vote. I looked this up today, since 1788, we've had 58 presidential elections where the third-party candidate won somewhere roughly around 5% of the vote on average. So what the Democrats are saying is, why would you run? You can't win anything in the Electoral College. You can't win. But what this could possibly be, and I think we may be shaping up for this, is one of those realigning elections in American history. You have these, like in 1912, where the Progressive Party actually got more votes than the Republican Party for president in that election. So could we have a moment between Trump's popularity, between Howard Schultz running, between 30 Democrats running, where you sort of realign American politics?
You need to have 4.
Agreed.
Like, if you have 3, you're going to end up, it's going to be a 2-to-1 thing. So you got to have 4 or 6. It has to be an even number.
But right now, Schultz is a Democrat. He's saying he's an independent centrist. He's much more of a Democrat than he is a Republican, and that's why these Democrats are freaking out because he's going to Naderize the election.
He's also on a book tour, this guy. So he's going out there, and he wants to sell his book, and he knows if he says he's running for president, he's going to get a lot of attention. But, the deficit, you can't do anything about the deficit unless you look at entitlement reform. You really think that you're going to get Democrats
you certainly
to
can't do something about revenue.
Listen, if you didn't cut those taxes, you wouldn't boost the economy. So you would wind up with an economy that was sinking, and you would still have all that spending. Democrats want to spend more money on Medicare for all, which they can't afford at all.
So in other words, we can spend money to give the millionaires a tax break, but we can't spend it on people who are sick.
Stop spending money we don't have.
Let's not spend it on people who are sick. We hate sick people. We Republicans hate sick people.
You know what?
The free market has done more for the sick than any government.
That's why we have people without health care.
Look it up.
And by the way, that's why
diseases have been cured by the free market.
By the way, that's why now Obamacare is popular with the American people. Okay. One final thought on this.
Let's not have a final thought.
One final thought. You know that
Yes.
in fact, Perot got 19% of the vote?
Yeah.
That's something to remember.
I said that earlier.
And one last thing you don't spend money on a tax cut. That's not how it works.